We all know about Prophet Sulaiman, peace be upon him. Allah granted him special knowledge, immense power, and a vast kingdom. He possessed such enormous wealth that all types of materials used by mankind in that era, along with a massive army, were under his command. But that's not all. He also utilized jinns, birds, and other creatures in the administration and management of his kingdom. Allah granted him the ability to understand the language of all animals and birds. We've heard of many miraculous events involving Sulaiman, such as the construction of Masjid al-Aqsa by the jinn, the transfer of Queen Bilqis's throne, and Hudhud the bird locating water sources and delivering messages. But today, we'll focus on a conversation between Sulaiman and a group of ants, an event that contains a surprising scientific fact, described in verse 18 of Surah An-Naml. Some chapters of the Qur'an are named after animals, and Surah An-Naml is one of them. Naml means ant. The chapter was named after this unique incident involving ants. Beyond scientific insight, the surah also conveys important messages for us. So stay with us until the end of the video as we explore it all. One day, Prophet Sulaiman was passing through a region with his enormous army, consisting of jinn, humans, and birds. In that region, many ant colonies had been established like small mounds of sand. Seeing Sulaiman's army approaching, the leader of the ants warned her companions to flee quickly, or they would be trampled. The Quran describes this incident as follows. Until when they came upon the valley of the ants, an ant said, "O ants, enter your dwellings lest Sulaiman and his soldiers crush you unknowingly." Sulaiman heard this and smiled gently, then turned to his Lord and prayed. He smiled, amused at her speech, and said, "My Lord, enable me to be grateful for your favor, which you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and to do righteousness that you approve, and admit me by your mercy into the ranks of your righteous servants." Now notice something fascinating about verse 18. The ant that spoke is identified with the word kalat, a feminine verb form in Arabic grammar, meaning the ant was female. Additionally, the word used for ant is namla, which is also feminine. Why does the Quran repeatedly use feminine forms when describing this ant? Science tells us that ant society is highly structured. There are 3 types of ants: queens, males, and workers. The worker ants are sterile females who do not lay eggs. Instead, they gather food, build homes, and defend the colony. The fascinating thing is all worker ants are female. A recent scientific journal article states, "Wingless males do not participate in taking care of the brood and active foraging outside the nest." That is, male ants without wings don't take care of the young or go out to collect food. Therefore, the ant that spoke in the Quran, who was outside and warning others, must have been a female worker ant. This has only recently been confirmed by science. There's another clue. Male ants have wings. If the ant in the Quran were male, it could have simply flown away. But the Quran says the ant told its companions to seek shelter underground, exactly what wingless female ants would do. Quranic scholars highlight several lessons from this verse. Even animals possess a form of intelligence distinct from humans. That's why animals warn each other of danger. Despite being a mighty prophet, Sulaiman did not possess knowledge of the unseen. The ants feared being crushed unknowingly. Animals too recognize that only Allah knows the unseen. Sulaiman understood the language of all creatures, a miracle granted to him by Allah. Despite his greatness, Sulaiman remained humble. He didn't get angry when the ant spoke critically. Instead, he smiled and prayed. So, dear viewer, does this verse tell just a story about ants? Or does it unveil a deep scientific truth? Did Allah name this surah after an ant just randomly, or is it filled with profound lessons?